Hey guys, it's Tara with Teaching on Lemon Lane, and this is a quick tutorial of the Design a Haunted House activity. So let's go ahead and get started. So first of all, if you're going to be assigning this to your class, you're going to need to make a student copy of the slides that you would like your students to see. So the way that I like to do that is I go through and I begin to select the slides that I want to make a copy of. So the way that I do that, I'm using a Mac, and so I hold down the Command key and then I'll start selecting the slides that I want students to be able to see. Now that's instructions for you, so I don't necessarily want them to see that one, but I might include some of the slides here that are already completed. So I'll hold down Command as I select some of the different slides that students could pick from. I'll also include the instructions and make sure that you read through these. You can go ahead and edit them to your needs as well. And then I'm going to include the 3 different templates that students can pick from. As I go down, I also see some of the bonus slides like the writing. So if you'd like to pair this with writing, these are great kind of graphic organizers that work both digitally or as a printable. And so I'm going to go ahead and select those as well. So I've selected the slides that I want students to use. And now what you're going to do, you're going to select File, Make a Copy, and then you're going to make a copy of the selected slides. Once I do that, it's going to prompt me to create a title. So I usually title it like Design a Haunted House Student Copy. And then from that point, you need to change the share settings. So you will click Share, and then you need to make sure that it's anyone with the link can edit. So that will allow students to make edits and not just view the slides that you've shared with them. Now that we've went over how to make a student copy of the slides, and I always make a student copy of the slides. I never allow students to edit my master slide. That allows me to just keep things nice and clean, and that way I can use them year after year. So let's go ahead and dive into actually creating our own haunted house. And this is something that I suggest you do with your students. So model the activity for them, and that will clear up a lot of the questions. You'll notice in this window I've inserted a GIF. A GIF is a moving picture, and I've included a tutorial that'll show you how to do this. Though it looks complicated and it looks like you need to be really tech savvy, it's actually a really simple process that can be a lot of fun for your students. So you could use this, imagine them filming just a quick kind of 10-second video or even a 5-second video of them in their Halloween costume. You can turn that image into a GIF very easily using Screencastify, and then students can actually insert that moving image of themselves in their Halloween costume into the window of their haunted house. Let's go ahead and look at some of the other options and we'll go through these. So here's some of the different designs that have been created using this. And why don't we go ahead and create our own? Before we create our own, I just wanted to point out the 3 different options that students or you will have to pick from. This first one, essentially the only difference between this one and the other one is that you can't change the background. So this is the set background. So students will simply single click and drag the objects onto the picture to start designing it. With this purple sky and this gradient sky, what's cool about this is that students can actually change the color of the background or change the color of the sky. So let's go ahead and go to this one, and I'm going to show you how you would actually do that. So to change the color of the sky, students are going to click on the upper corner like I did here. And then you'll notice that I can select the fill color. Now I can select any of these solid colors here, and it's going to change the sky, which is a lot of fun. Now, my favorite thing to do with this is a solid fill, but I think your students will actually have a lot of fun experimenting with the gradient. So have them select gradient, and then you can click on the different gradients that I've already created, or you can click on the options that are down below. But the fun option that I think that they'll really enjoy is to create their own custom gradient fill. Now to do that, I need to add a couple stops. And you'll notice these stops are these dots down here. And these dots are essentially the different colors that the colors will fade into. So I click on this first stop, and then I select the color that I would like it to be. I like the really bright pink. And what if that faded into a bright neon yellow? And then let's go to maybe a turquoise. And then lastly, maybe it fades into an orange. So I've created my gradient. Right now it's linear. I could mess with it and make it radial. I could also change the direction that the gradient kind of flows from. So I've got a lot of fun different options. I think this looks great. I'm going to go ahead and click OK, and it'll automatically add that background to my design a haunted house. So that's one of the fun things that we can do. I'm going to go ahead and select it back to the purple, and let's go ahead and start designing. So in order to design, let me zoom out so you can see the different options that students or you can pick from as you design your haunted house. Essentially, what you could consider these are digital stickers. So to use the digital stickers, we single click, we drag and we hold, and then we release where we want it to be. Now, I can also scale these stickers by using the corners. I always use the corners. Notice I hold the corner and then I hold down my shift button, and that prevents me from messing with the ratio scale of that image. So I'm going to add a great big moon. If I didn't hold the corner, or if I used these middle buttons, notice that it kind of squishes the image. So we want to keep the proportion correct. Let's go ahead and add some spooky grass to the bottom. One of my favorite things to add to this is the witch with her brew. So I'm going to add the witch's brew. I single click and I drag the witch over. I'm going to make her a little bit larger so it looks like she's stirring it. We'll bring her down just a little bit so she's not standing in the air. And now here's the coolest part. Over here I have an actual witch's brew that I can place in the cauldron. I need to make it just a little bit larger since I made the cauldron bigger. But now this, like the sunset, allows students to actually pick the color of it. So again, I would single click on my brew. I would come up here to my paint fill bucket, and then I can click on the different color options to change it. I could even go to the solid fill where I was before and use one of these. Or again, I could create my very own gradient custom color. And why don't we actually use the one that we created before? So I would go to fill color, I select the one that we created, and I add it to my witch's brew. Again, this is a lot of fun. Students can get really creative as they add the different things to their skyline. We can add chimneys, maybe different chimneys on each one. We've got a puff of smoke we can add. I need to pull that chimney down though. And I can add smoke coming out of the chimney. We could add, why don't we do a black cat next to the witch? We'll make it a little right there with the roof line. So again, there's a lot of different things that students can do, and they can have a lot of fun with this as they kind of single click, they drag, and you drop. Okay, so the next thing, let's go ahead and pick out a door. I have some door knockers here that you could add to kind of accessorize your door. I single click, I drag, and I drop. And now over here, what you'll see, I'm going to zoom in for you. These are my windows, and I like to call these windows my picture placeholders because they are so fun. You can actually insert a picture or a GIF like we saw on those completed examples, like the moving picture, into any of these windows. So I could pick some different windows. I single click, I drag and I drop. I single click, I drag and I drop. Maybe I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. But what we're going to do next, we could even add another one in the middle or towards the top. But let's go ahead and insert images into our picture placeholder. Now to do that, what you're going to do, you're going to single click on the picture placeholder. Notice when I click off of it, I'm looking for replace image. So when I single click on it, replace image appears as an option in my toolbox. So here's where we have our different options. So I single click on my picture placeholder, then replace image. Now I have these different options from where I can upload a picture. I could click upload from computer, and this allows me to add any picture that I've saved to my device, or even a moving GIF like we've talked about. If we did one in Screencastify and saved it to our computer, this is what we would select to insert that into our picture placeholder. We can also search the web. Let me show you what that looks like. So when we search the web, we are essentially using a Google search. Instead of just searching ghosts, though, I encourage you to have your students add, say, the word background or pattern or even clip art. This is going to give you more mild search results when it comes to Halloween images. You'll also notice, so let's go ahead and just do that one. And we've got a couple of fun different options. I find the one I want, I double click, and it's going to automatically insert that ghost into that window. And once I've inserted something into the window, I can come back and I can single click and drag, and I can even add a window pane on top of that window. Let's do another option for the replace image. So again, I click on the picture placeholder and now I click replace image. And why don't we use Drive at this point? This allows me to add any image that I've saved to my Google Drive. And if you'll notice in the zip file, I've added an image or a folder of a lot of fun different images that your students can pick from. And again, that way you don't have to worry about the search results that they might see when they use the Google search. So some fun different options here. Let's go ahead and pick what about the eyes? Let's double click on the eyes. I double click and it automatically inserts that image into it. So let's find the window pane that matches that one. I single click, I drag and I drop, and it looks like that one needs to be brought to the front. So I do arrange order, bring to front, and then it puts the window pane in front of it. And again, lastly, if you wanted to insert a GIF, I've got a tutorial and the instructions for that, but essentially I encourage you to use Screencastify. It's a Chrome extension that you can very easily add. Students video themselves using their Chromebook or their device doing a quick little movement, and then instead of downloading it as a video or as an image, you select the option to download it as a GIF, and that allows us to add a moving picture. I'll show you what that looks like. So again, we would click here, replace image, and then we would upload from our computer, and then we're going to select the one that we want. So again, this is an example of a student. They could be in their Halloween costume. We turn it into a GIF. Again, I need to bring this window pane to the front, but it looks like a student is moving in that window where we've kind of brought it to life. So again, a lot of fun ideas and kind of extensions as to what you could do as you design your haunted house and as students put their own spin onto it. It's fun to share with each other. Another fun idea that you might consider doing is doing a hybrid of this activity. So we have both the digital version and then we bring in the printable component. Now remember, if we wanted to pair this with some writing, these pages, they work digitally, but they also work as a printable as well. So let's say that I actually wanted to print and display the haunted house. So the first option is you could just print one of these. We obviously wouldn't want a moving picture in that because that wouldn't print. But let's say this was mine and I wanted to print this and display the students' haunted houses that they created. You've got a couple options. One, you could just print it as is. So you would come up here and go File, and then you would go to print and you could select the slide that you wanted to print. The other option that you could do, if you're like me and that amount of color makes you cringe a little bit, we could do a more printer-friendly version of this. So instead of having students insert a colored background, simply just have them do the solid white. And by doing a solid white, what you could also do is we could maybe get rid of the moon, we could maybe keep the smoke, but maybe instead of doing images in here, I could either just keep it all black so it's all just silhouette, or again, I could actually replace the image by searching the web and looking for a white background. And then that way, when I print this, students could actually go in and color what is in the windows. So again, I could go replace image, search the web, white background. So now we have a much more printer-friendly haunted house that the students have designed and customized and made their own. And now here's my favorite part about this. If you were doing more of a hybrid approach where you do the digital design and then you print it, I would encourage you to have students use their watercolors or use their markers or use patterns to create Zentangles behind this black silhouette to kind of give you that mixed media strong contrast with this art project that they've created. And again, this allows you to display it. So you're getting kind of both components. And then you could even display their story You could glue it underneath if they create a haunted house narrative. So, again, a lot of fun ideas, a lot of different extensions you can use with this. But I think you and your students are going to love it. Let me know if you have any questions or if you'd like to see anything else. Again, if you're wondering about a more detailed tutorial for inserting a GIF, like I talked about, you can find that on this page. There's also detailed steps as kind of showing you or outlining what we've gone over and what we've done. Let me know if you have any questions. Again, this is one of my favorite activities, and I hope that you guys love it. Thanks so much, guys. Bye.